Welcome to the Lead Gen Leaders Podcast, connecting you to the leading minds in home improvement to discuss all things marketing and leadership. And now, your host, Kyle Powers.
Welcome to the Lead Gen Leaders Podcast. I am your host, Kyle Powers. And in order to serve the home remodeling industry and provide some much needed inspiration and education, we decided to move up our timeline and to broadcast some episodes early. Originally, we were slated to launch the podcast around May, concurrent with LeadCon 2020. But with the state of our environment and everything going on with this coronavirus, we wanted to get out some much needed education and information and content to hopefully serve and help out our fellow home remodeling marketers. And I'd like to introduce my first guest. He has spent his entire adult life in the home remodeling business, starting out very much like I did, going door to door. He is also the person that has brought me into this business a little over 10 years ago. I believe in his methods so much that I was proud to join his firm about a year ago. And so without further ado, I'd like to introduce my friend, Tony Hoty. Hello, Tony.
Hey, Kyle. How are you?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
Doing all right, all things considered, healthy and safe. So,
yeah, these are really some unprecedented times that we're dealing with. Really happy to have you on the show, as I know, much like myself, you're getting many calls and emails and just different follow-up from different clients, people that aren't our clients yet, but are certainly reaching out and wondering what can they do right now.
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, it's hearing a lot of different things depending upon where people are located in the country. So, you know, there's different orders in place. The governors kind of have their own, reign to impose what they see fit based on what's going on in their part of the country. And, a lot of people are really shaken up by this, and understandably so. So I think that, the important thing to do is to really stay positive and, kind of focus on what you can do. I really believe that it's all about those spheres of influence. There's obviously things that we can't do, outside our sphere of influence, and there's things that we can do inside our sphere of influence. And we really need to stay focused on that sphere of influence that we're in control of, what we can do differently, how we can adapt, how we can evolve, and continue to do business. It's very important that, just like a human being needs to, survive, a business needs to survive as well. And so you need to find new ways to continue to function in these difficult times.
Absolutely. And staying with the, being positive in these times and looking at things a little differently. You actually had a post the other day on social media, list of reasons why the pandemic will help my remodeling business. And I don't think too many people are looking at it, how's it going to help my business? They're worried about how's it hurting my business. But you brought up some really good points in there. One of them that, being just people are home, contact rates, I assume, through call center, are certainly there and ready to hear messages.
That's exactly right. I think you have to stay focused on what you can control and, make a list, take a personal inventory of what you can do and how this could possibly be a benefit, where this may be, improve your business in some way, shape, or form. You have to look for those opportunities, where one door closes, another opens. And I truly believe that, one of the top things is the contact rate. People are home. They are available. They are paying attention to the news. So if you happen to advertise via TV, you're going to get definitely a lot of attention through that medium. You are going to get low cost because a lot of people have retracted and withdrawn, and they're no longer advertising. They've gotten scared and pulled back. Bloomberg, who was a candidate for the presidency, has dropped out, and so there was some anticipated dollars in the TV medium that are disappeared. And so there's just opportunity there. And furthermore, as you mentioned, call center, just reaching out to people at their homes, prior customers, rehashing old opportunities. People are available. They're home. And, when you're at home, you're thinking about home and home improvements. So we have to turn that frown upside down and see what possibilities are there and how we can turn this into a positive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure, just like me, I've been hearing a whole different range of companies, from companies that have actually kind of completely almost shut down right now to other companies that quickly and radically changed their business to seize the moment for online selling, ways that they can still serve their customers, but stay within the guidelines of their given state for contact and things like that with the virus. And with that being a whole different range, you have your own retail business as well. Are you currently open, and what are you doing to really thrive at this time in your business?
So good question. It's certainly not business as usual. It's business unusual. We are still continuing to conduct business. However, we're doing things very, very differently. In the state of Ohio, contracting companies have been classified as an essential business. Therefore, we do have the freedom to and the discretion to choose whether we want to continue projects that are in progress, schedule projects that may be necessary or urgent. And so we are continuing to do business. However, we're taking tremendous precautions. Everything from, safety and sanitary, actions and measures with our staff, taking temperatures of staff members, things of that nature, making sure all samples are completely cleaned and sanitized. If we're taking them into the home, tools and so forth, you name it, and taking a lot of drastic measures in order to continue to be able to do business. Also, just making various adaptations in the way that we do things. Confirmation of appointments, making sure that homeowners are feeling healthy and safe, and that they are eager to have us out. If they're not eager to have us out, we're rescheduling appointments, we're rescheduling installations, and allowing them to, lead the way as to what their comfort level is. And then, expressing to them, all the different precautions that we're taking to try to keep our customers safe, our employees safe, and the community at large safe. Sure.
And having been, in this industry, pretty much your entire adult life, I'm sure you've seen many, many up and downs. And the kind of, analogy I'd like to use for that is, right now with the virus, they're studying people that are recovered because they have the antibodies, the things that beat the virus and turn out to be, good for them and help them not get the virus again. Much like studying the characteristics of businesses that have gone through really tough times, and have gotten through it. Those are certainly the businesses you want to be looking at, and the systems and processes that they used to beat those. You also came out with another post the other day that was, different industry crises, that have happened. From 9/11 in 2001 to the federal do not call list to, the housing collapse and around the 2008-09 time, EPA lead certification. We have the obviously the coronavirus, the COVID-19 pandemic now at this time. And what are some of the similarities that you've seen that people really got through these and kind of created their antibodies to get ready and to really move forward from these different crises?
Yeah, that's another great question. There have been a number of major events that have occurred over the last couple of decades. You mentioned them, 9/11, the federal do not call list, housing collapse, so forth. And, I've been in the industry the entire time working with clients and helping them get through those challenges. And many times it's, there are opportunities that can be seized. A lot of other companies tend to retract. They get scared. They pull back. Like I mentioned earlier with respect to pulling back on advertising. And, that's something that an opportunity is created for affordable advertising, television, could be radio, direct mail. Direct mail right now, I believe, will be a huge opportunity in the next 8 weeks as homeowners are anticipating tax returns and stimulus checks. And so you're going to have a lot of attention on the mailbox as well. And so I really believe if you craft the right message and get it into the customer's mailbox, you will, win their attention and potentially get that dialogue started that we're looking for. But you have to get creative. You have to adapt to these circumstances, and you have to focus on what is within your sphere of influence, what you can control.
Yeah, absolutely. And you actually had forwarded me off some designs and samples of some envelopes and some wording in that letter. And I'm sure there's a way if some of the listeners want to reach out to us that we can get them that. I'm sure they can just go to tonyhoty.com, send us a message through there. And we can try to help them out as a little gift from Lead Gen Leaders here to get them, some wording at what that direct mail piece might look like. Would that be something you'd like to offer?
Absolutely. You have to be careful with any offers that you put out there. Obviously trust is huge, and so we don't want to compromise the trust of the public. But by the same token, we do want to take advantage of any opportunities that we do have. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of attention on the mailbox at this time. But, we had discussed the different, crises that have occurred over the decades. And, I really believe that remodelers were built to handle these crises because, crises in the home remodeling industry don't happen, every so often, a couple times a decade, or a few times, every few years. They happen every day in our business. I mean, we really face lots of challenges as remodelers. We deal with, objections from consumers. We deal with all kinds of challenges on the construction side of things. And so I really believe that our entrepreneurs in the home remodeling industry were built to handle challenges. And we talked about this before, Kyle. Prosperity breeds apathy. So a lot of times when times are good and the economy's Goldilocks, we get apathetic, we get lazy, and we just kind of rest back on our laurels, and we're not getting innovative. So these opportunities really challenge us to step up to the plate and get innovative and get creative. And so I really, as much as I don't like some of the sickness and illness and all the things that can, the negative side of the pandemic, I do enjoy the opportunity to get creative and evolve.
Yeah, it's one of those things, if you never go through the storm, you never learn how to weather it and to get stronger and come out the other side. I think for the companies that continue, like you just said, get innovative and figure out how to flourish at this time, once things return to normal, hopefully sooner than later, they'll really be, in a good standing. I know we were chatting the other day on the phone, and you had kind of one commonality to a lot of these crises that have happened, that, once they got past those, you brought up the one form of marketing that really took off after those times, and that was canvassing, going door to door. Now, I know going out and knocking on doors right now, probably not the brightest option to take, but once the disease moves on and things get back to normal, I feel, and I'm just wondering if you feel the same way, that's probably going to be just a great lead source.
Oh, there's no doubt. Anytime a crisis takes place, when things do get back to normal, you are going to need to jumpstart your business. You're going to need to kick things off, get the blood flowing again. And, nothing like door-to-door canvassing to do that. It's just not waiting for the phone to ring, but going out and taking action, being proactive, and doing it in a way that is serving the consumer. I think that, everything we do, we have to focus on serve, not sell. I have a tremendous success story from a client that I was networking with just a couple of weeks ago. And when things started to take a turn for the worse with respect to the pandemic, this particular company went out and got company branded, hand sanitizer. They had small little bottles made up with their company logo, stay healthy, stay safe. And they gave that tool to their door-to-door canvassers to distribute in the neighborhoods as a bit of an icebreaker, because they were getting some pushback from homeowners that thought maybe it didn't make sense for them to be out in the field at this time. And they turned that frown upside down. Now, I don't know how much it was that the homeowners appreciated that gift, or how much it was that the canvassers appreciated that gift, and having that tool to break the ice in a consumer friendly way. But either way, that focus on how can we serve at this time really can open the door for a lot of opportunity. And I thought it was a great success story that I wanted to share.
Yeah, that absolutely is. And I was anxiously awaiting the results of that. I know that turned out well and worked for them. But you brought up a really interesting point that I'd like to talk about a little bit more in that little bit there, that you said, you don't know if it necessarily was the homeowner, but certainly the canvassers enjoyed having something a little extra to break the ice. And I was having another conversation the other day, and not only do I think we have to be aware of how we can serve the consumer that we're out there in making things enjoyable and safe for them, as much as everyone's kind of stressed out and has the anxiety right now. I think just because they don't know what is going to come, they're rushing to try to prepare. I think as much as you got to be consumer friendly, I think you have to be employee friendly also, and really give that reason that you're, create that culture, so to say, that your marketing representatives, whether it be, not so much canvassing right now at this point, but a little bit earlier on, as well as I know a lot of companies have put a lot of people on the phones that aren't normally on the phones to generate leads, making sure that, they're happy and excited to be there also. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You have to create that positive culture, and where people are wanting to come to work and excited to come to work. And if for any reason that they're not feeling that way, if they don't feel safe, and if they don't feel well, then they shouldn't come to work at this time. And like I said, we should monitor their health and make that a priority. So that, we're not putting anyone in jeopardy. But, it's not just the physical health, right? I mean, that's obviously extremely important, but it's also, the mental health and the mindset, and making sure that we are staying in communication with our staff, our team members, and keeping them abreast of what's going on. And, you have to be just beacons of hope in times like this. It's so important to really communicate hope and future, and how things are going to be brighter and better in the days to come.
Absolutely. And coming up here in May, we actually have LeadCon scheduled for May 6th and 7th out in Baltimore. And with a lot of things canceling right now, and a lot of people probably wondering, is LeadCon still happening? Could you share a little insight on that?
Yeah, so LeadCon is still scheduled to take place. We feel very strongly when I said we, all the team at Tony Hoty Training and Consulting, we've, discussed this and deliberated about this, and I've talked to many of the sponsors as well. And we just feel that at a time like this, the industry needs, education, they need inspiration, they need, networking for ideas. And it's just so critical that we stay in touch in that regard. And, one of the things that we've done to, again, adapt and evolve is we have scheduled a live stream option to be available to anyone who cannot make the event in person. And so if you purchase your ticket through the website, that live stream option will still be available to you if for some reason you can't attend in person. But we definitely want to, be a beacon of hope. We definitely want to have the attitude that, the show must go on. One of the monikers I've had so far is, disinfect, don't disengage, and I believe that. I think we need to continue to do business. It's not business as usual, it's business unusual, but we still need to continue to do business. And for that reason, LeadCon will go on as long as I have a say in it.
Absolutely. And we're looking at a lot of the different, as you mentioned, all of us on the team have discussed, it, and looking at all the different data points, a lot of the experts are thinking, by late April and into May, it's going to, start turning around and get back to more as business as usual. And so we're really counting on the fact that that's going to happen. And so until we hear otherwise, it's on, and we're certainly taking the steps. So I really appreciate just your leadership on those different things, and always trying to find that silver lining in the way to move forward. And that's something that you've certainly helped me through the years, always find that bright side. And so I've really, really enjoyed talking with you today. And at the end of every show, I have a little, just one tip, just one thing that, hopefully the audience can use and implement in their business, whether it's something we talked about today already or something else you'd like to add. And so I'd like to give you a little bit of time here to just come up with one good point, one good tip for the crowd.
I think if you haven't gone through the exercise so far of, drawing those spheres of influence, or even taking a pad of paper and drawing a line down the center and listing out what you can control and what you can't control, and how this pandemic could possibly be an opportunity for your business, whether it be qualified installers becoming more readily available, advertising rates being reduced, direct mail opportunities, as we discussed, interest rates being lower, competitors disappearing, right? And talent becoming available as a result of competitors retracting and going away. So, make that list and focus on what you can control and adapt, evolve, and win.
Absolutely. That's a great tip. And two of the things that you brought up in there, I just kind of chuckling to myself here, because one of them was a huge thing that I know we were getting a lot of calls on, was as times were good right before this hit, about, finding talent, specifically installers, for the product. And I really feel that those prayers have kind of been answered, so to say, that I think a lot of good talent, both on the production side, but all the way through the business, will become available as a result of this. And so I think the great companies with great culture are going to be able to, pick up some of that talent. And the one thing that I really look at as a silver lining in this whole, COVID-19 deal is that, back, I think, in the biggest hurdle that our companies have faced in the last 20 years had been that housing collapse, that 08, 09. And the major problem there was financing was so tight, after that happened. And I think right now financing, so far, the economy is still pretty good. And talking with everybody on the different companies, they're saying they're still able to get, their customers, financed and get them deals. And, no matter what's going on, I know that consumers always love, a great deal. And so similarly, as we have discussed, towards the end of the year, when companies slow down around those holiday times, that message that we put out that, hey, now's the time. If you're going to, now's the time, because it's our best prices. We don't want to lay people off, throughout the winter, those kind of things. Very similar with this. I think they can share that message to the consumer that, hey, if, it may not be the best time, but if you're going to, it certainly is the best time when it comes in terms of money and financing and those type of things. I've seen companies offering, no payments, no interest, 0% interest, all those kind of things for, multiples of years. And so those are really great deal for the consumers, as they always love a great deal. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one of the things that really helped door-to-door canvassing during that, certain economic collapse and stimulus time in the 2008, 2009 era was, the energy tax credits of $1,500, so opportunities become available, and they can really entice consumers regardless of their personal situations, when they know that, pricing has never been better or rates have never been better. They're going to take advantage of it, and keep your eye out and be ready for those things.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you out in Baltimore in early May.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you for listening to the Lead Gen Leaders Podcast. For a free consultation on how Tony Hoty Training and Consulting can assist with your home remodeling business, please visit TonyHoty.com. That's TonyHoty.com. Thank you for listening.